Snowflake zero copy cloning. And if time permits, I'll complete Snowflake cache, data cache, how the data will be cached and all. Okay. If time not permits, maybe I'll cover this tomorrow. So Windows pushed some update, Windows 11. I mean, if you are installing, my advice is never install this update. So my system has become like very slow and yeah. So anyway, cloning. Let's say you have one table. So the table name may be like employees table. Okay, EMP. So this is what it's happening. Yeah, employees table. So what is meant by cloning? If I clone this employee table, I'm making a duplicate copy of this table, right? I'm making a duplicate copy. Whatever the data here, I'm duplicating the table. As simple as that. So usually like let's see what is the difference between this zero copy cloning and cloning in general in normal traditional RDMS systems. So few challenges with the traditional RDMS system like MySQL, Oracle or any other. Many common tasks like test QA requires copies of data. Your data is always up to date in production, right? Where if you want to test some logic, you want to write some complicated query and you want to update some rows in the particular table. Okay. Can you write your queries like, update queries directly on production table? No. First, what you will do, you will test those queries in the testing environment and you validate. If you feels like your query is working fine, then you apply that logic on the production table, right? Usually in real time, if you are working on Oracle and all, you need to raise a ticket with the admin team saying like, hey, I want to test this. Can you please replicate this data to testing environment? Like let's say we have one database called demo. The demo database is of 1 terabyte. Okay, in this case, I want to test my logic on entire database. Then what I have to do? I have to raise a ticket saying, clone this demo DB. Then what admin people will do? They'll take like demo DB and they will clone. Basically, cloning it takes like a lot of time for them because 1 terabyte of data they need to manually copy or like they need to export this data and upload to QA environment, which takes generally a lot of time. If you raise ticket today, depends upon your organization and all. Again, I had very bad experience. It takes like 2 or 3 days usually if the data size is too long. That is one headache. There is a dependency on admin team, and again they don't do the turnover time is not very fast. Whatever the company works, admin team, they say like it takes like lot of time. Okay, that is one thing. So the other thing, uh, you need to pay for storing the data twice because see, if you clone, if you have one movie in your folder and you are copying into other folder, then obviously it is like a 2 copies of data, right? Same movie is same, but if you duplicate, what will happen? It will create 2 copies of data in your laptop. Okay, so that is for that we need to pay. Continuous data continues to change in production, must copy to update. So let's say I want to test my logic today, but I raised the ticket today. They did it like after 2 days. Okay. In that case, what will happen? It is very slow. By the time they clone, my data is already not up to date, right? My data is already old because it's been like I raised 2 days back. They cloned it today. My data is already 2 days old in QA environment. Okay. Data continues to change in production. Must copy to update. Yeah. Again, they need to copy the 2 days data if we want. So promoting test to production is challenging. Like let's say I tested my logic in QA environment and I felt like, okay, the query is good. It is updating all the data correctly. In order to promote this, it is like very challenging. What is promoting? Let's say I modified 2 rows in my QA environment. It is good. I want to promote like, move this data to production environment again. It is like again challenging. So these are the challenges with traditional cloning. Okay, but Snowflake has come up with a new concept called zero copy cloning. What is zero copy cloning? Let's understand. Let's revisit the architecture slide. What is the first layer called? What is the name of the first layer? Cloud service layer, right? Anyone remember or completely forget?
Forgot.
See, guys, these are very, I mean, important for your interview and all. That's
Sure.
up to you because we are keep on discussing about we discussed about this architecture a lot of times. Okay, cloud service layer, virtual warehouse, where the data is there. There is not cloud storage, it is storage. Sorry, it is. So where the data is there, the name, this is the storage layer, right?
Data will
So
be there at cloud like S3 and all.
Storage.
yeah, the data is okay. So now employees table. Okay, table metadata. What is metadata? Table metadata. When I say metadata, it is table name, and column names and column data types like string, integer, and all. Okay, it's D types, and also uh, distinct nulls. All it not actual distinct values. It's the number of distinct values and number of null values and total number of rows inside the table. This is all called metadata of the table. So in the cloud service layer, the table metadata will be stored in the cloud service layer. What data? Only metadata. What is table name? What are the column names of that particular table? What are its data types? How many distinct values? How many nulls values? How many count? Right? This layer is responsible for query processing. This layer is responsible for storing actual data. Okay, so employees table is technically here, but this table will point out to the storage. Let's say this is your data, right? So when you clone the table, what will happen is Snowflake will just create a new metadata copy for this particular table. Let's say I cloned this and this table name is employee clone. Okay, so what happens is both the tables will point out to the same storage. Okay, so here three records are there, 1 2 3. So employee table will point out to that 1 2 3, and employee copy also pointing out to 1 2 3. Then what happens? That's why it is called as a zero copy cloning, because we are not duplicating the data. Both the tables are pointing out to the same storage. That means, like, see, both the tables technically exist here, names exist here. They both reference to the same folder or same thing in the backend. That means I'm not duplicating the data. In Oracle, if you are taking a copy, you are duplicating the data. But here what happens? I'm not duplicating the data. I am just like, pointing, like whenever I clone the table, they both point out to the same storage and we'll pay only for one copy of data. So the data is here, the data is here. They both refers to the same file. For example, they're both referring to the same file. The file is one, right? I'm like Oracle, I'm not creating two files. Only one file, they both refer to the same file. Now the question will come, if they both are referring to the same file, if I delete anything, the data will be deleted from here or not? That is the question, right? So so let's say now the time is 11:28, guys. Okay, now the time is 11:28. I cloned the table at 11:28, and in this table I have 100 records. I just cloned at 11:28. Then what happens? I have a new table created. In this new table, how many records are there? 100. Till this point, here 100 records, here 100 records. Okay. Now I'll pay only, so total how many? Here 100, here 100, total 200. But how much of money I'll pay for Snowflake? I'll pay only for one copy of data. I'll pay only for the first 100 records. These records and these records are same. Now if I delete any record here, then what will happen? From this table, Snowflake won't delete that data. Okay. So if I add one more row, Snowflake will add that one row to this table, but not to this table. So to make it short, we can say like whenever we are cloned any data in Snowflake, Snowflake is creating just a new metadata copy for the table in the cloud service layer. Any changes to the table after cloning, they remain independent to each other. Is it clear? Now let's test maybe like quickly. I'll create some table and why you want to clone the table depends upon your business. Maybe that could be because of the backup or maybe for you want to test that info in the table. Why we are duplicating the data? We just don't want to test our whatever in on our original table.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
don't want to.
Okay,
That's it.
okay.
Yeah. So I have this table. The table name is you can see users table. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll create another table. Create table EMP. Let's call it EMP as. So I'm creating new table, guys. So just for our demo. Okay, so let's start from EMP. I have 1000 rows. Okay. Now let's see how we can clone the table in Snowflake. So create table employee clone. Okay, then I'll say clone EMP. So what does it mean? So let's say the table size of employee is 1 GB. Now in Snowflake, if I clone the table, the new table name is what is the new table name? Employee underscore clone. Okay. Now 1000 rows in this. So 1000 rows in this, 1000 rows in this, but they both pointing out to the same storage and we'll pay only one copy of data for this table. We don't pay anything for this table. It is, and you can see the cloning will happen instantly. In
Yes.
130 milliseconds, it happens instantly. Okay, again in Oracle and all, it takes like 1 hour or like 5 hours, depends upon size of data. But here, any size, instantly it will try to create a clone. Okay. Uh, so now what will happen? Our question is, as they both are pointing out to the same file in S3 storage, in the storage layer, if I delete anything in employee table, will that reflect on the employee clone? Let's test it. So delete from employee table where ID is equal to 1. Number of rows deleted is 1. Now if I clone employee, how many records? 999, right? 999 rows. But if I query employee clone, 1000 rows. So any changes to the individual tables, they remain independent to each other. Now you can say like, okay, here, for example, for understanding sake, let's consider each row size is 1 GB. So 1000 GB, the size of this table is 1000 GB. Now I deleted one record, right? The size should come to 999. So how much amount of for this 1 GB are we paying or not? Yes, we'll pay because we deleted that one record from here, but that record is there. Okay. Let's say if I update any of the row in employee table, that data won't reflect in this table. So for example, Roy to John, if I change in this particular table, that change is pertaining to this table and it won't be reflected on this table. They completely remain independent to each other.
So,
Yeah.
means logically, how is it possible? As you mentioned that the copy of the data will be only one, and both clone and the actual metadata referring to the same copy of data. So if we delete the record, how logically it is going to happen? Like,
See, this is
because
this this is your file. Your file has number of rows or something. Okay.
yeah,
And same referring to the same table. If I update like this row, what will happen is it will create a new record for that copy of the row, one copy of row, and this table, and it will mark like this copy of data, this changes is coming from table A, then this table doesn't have access to that. This record after cloning, any changes you do, those changes will remain. This table doesn't have a connection to this particular changed rows. So it is inserting one row, but that is separate. This table doesn't have pointer to that particular file. Same way, if I delete this record, Snowflake simply removes the connection for this table, but this connection will go and refer to that data. So that's how it is possible.
got it.
But the physical copy is only one, right?
One.
Like in AS400, we have a similar concept wherein we use logical file. So it's like if we delete from, but logical file also doesn't have data. Okay, it will point to the physical data, but when we delete, it's like it will delete from the main physical file. So yeah.
Yeah, see, if you delete both from both the tables, yes, that row or that file will be permanently deleted. But technically, what we are doing here, we are deleting, and here we are not deleting. Then it will retain that data.
Okay.
It means our purpose is we can play with data in employee index clone. So just for everything we can like simulate the data from employee clone. It won't affect the employee table. That is our main purpose, right?
Right. Now, how many rows in employee? 999. How many rows in employee clone? 1000 rows. Now there is a small command called swap. Okay. Alter table employee swap swap uh, swap with employee clone. Then what will happen? The data inside this table will go to that table. Whatever the data inside this table will come to this table, vice versa. Now, right, earlier, how many rows are there in employee guy? How many rows in employee table?
999.
Yes.
Now let's see. 1000. Now the 999 will come to this particular table because the data is
Clone.
swapped.
Mhm.
The data is
Okay.
swapped. So yeah, if I swap now, again it will go vice versa. Now if I do like select star, here I'll get 1000 now. Here I'll get 999 again. See 999. Again if I swap, vice versa. Now again it will become 1000.
And we can swap only with the same structure table, right? Suppose it have 5 column, then 5 column table we can move the data. Suppose any data type mismatch, then it won't swap. Suppose it is a last name instead of last name, email address has come. Then in those case it won't move. Is it right?
I guess so. Yeah, I never tested that. We'll use along with clone. So why we'll use swap command is I cloned one table, I tested. Now I want to move the data inside this table to this table. I can use, but again, I never tested that scenario. Okay, let's swap with ABC. Let's see how if this is working or not. It is working. So if I clone EMP, yeah, it is working. You can swap with any table.
Okay. Yeah, it is good feature then.
Okay, so this concept it is called zero copy in cloning. In interviews, they will ask like what is zero copy cloning? Then exactly you need to say whenever we are creating a new table in Snowflake, when we are creating a clone in Snowflake, the cloned it's nothing but what Snowflake is doing. It is creating a new metadata copy for the table in cloud service layer. Okay, new metadata copy for the table in cloud service layer. Any changes to the table, they remain independent to each other. Okay, sorry for the typos, but yeah, independent to each other. Two-line statement. So now if you are cloning, right, we can clone databases, we can clone schemas also. For example, create database demo clone add clone demo database. Means I wanted to take the duplicate copy of the demo. Okay, now if I refresh, I'll see a new database demo. It's not okay. Clone I kept. It's clone. Yeah, demo clone. So whatever everything got cloned. If you see, everything got cloned, right? Whatever you see here, you'll see here. Now the question comes, because in database I have so many things, right? I have a stages, I have file format, I have Snowpipe. Everything is there in the database because they're object. We have internal stages, we have external stages, right? If I go to database, what is there in database? If I go to this demo, what are the objects? We have stages, right? Where are the stages? The stages are inside this data. Where are file formats? It is there inside. Where are the Snowpipe? Snowpipe is there here inside this demo. So let's understand, if you clone, like what will happen, let's understand. Anyway, let me like Google and see. See, I know things. Whenever we clone, internal stages will not be cloned, external tables will get cloned. Snowpipes, yes, snowpipes will get cloned, but they are in the paused state. Okay, so see, cloning and stages. Individual external named stages can be cloned, and external stages reference to bucket other containers in external clone. Cloning of an internal has no impact on the reference. Internal stages cannot be cloned, as simple as that. Snowpipes, yes, they are cloned, but they are in the paused state. Okay, streams. So I didn't cover this concept. I'll cover streams at the end. So yeah, streams also will be get cloned. Impact of DDL on cloning. Okay, time travel. If you clone any database and the database is 90 days time travel is enabled, if you clone, yeah, that will become like, again you need to modify the data retention. Okay, so go through the documentation, just understand like impact of cloning. Stages, internal stages is not created. Snowpipe will get cloned, but pipes are in paused state. Time travel, how it is getting affected and all, you need to check. Okay, so
Now
that's
we can
about
delete the demo underscore clone as well, because it is not needed, right?
yeah, if you want you can like, we can delete or keep. They don't have connection now.
Just check the drop database demo clone, because we can create again. Demo underscore clone.
Okay,
Yeah, then it is good. Yeah, we can check this. It means stage and all, only external stage we can clone, not internal stage. Only this is right. In case of a
right.
stage.
Yeah. So you can clone schema also. So if you want to clone, so same like create a schema, whatever the schema name, like let's say dummy schema, clone. Let's say here, like I have a public schema. See, it got cloned. Now if I refresh, so I'm in demo database. So see, dummy. Okay. So that is about cloning.